So Khanna made a great substance-packed speech introducing Bernie Sanders at his Chicago rally. By the way, Corin was at this rally, and he recorded a video of it. You can check that out on his channel, Corin's World, if you haven't seen it yet. It was really interesting to see. But anyway, Khanna gave this amazing speech. Take a look, and then we'll discuss.
Bernie Sanders has a simple moral vision for America's future. Instead of spending $6 trillion on endless wars, we need to invest in healthcare, in education, in infrastructure, in clean energy, in every community across America. Bernie Sanders doesn't just talk about these things, he delivers. He didn't just talk about ending the war in Yemen. Listen up. It's important. Listen up. He passed, in the first time in the history of the United States, the first time ever, a war power resolution through the Senate to end the civil war in Yemen. That's about saving lives. 14 million Yemenis who face possible famine. But let me tell you, it's more than that. Yemen is a precedent for a simple principle: no more unconstitutional wars. And I know when Bernie Sanders is president, he will not get us into a single war without congressional authorization. Bernie Sanders doesn't just talk about raising wages, he delivers. When he introduced the Stop Bezos Act, you guys remember that? 3 weeks later, Jeff Bezos raised wages for 350,000 Americans across this country. Here's my question. If Bernie Sanders in the minority in the Senate can get 350,000 Americans a raise, imagine what he will do when he's president of the United States.
That was awesome. What a great line. If Bernie can get a raise for 350,000 Americans when he's in the minority of the U.S. Senate, imagine what he could do as president of the United States. And by the way, Roe is being a little bit humble there because he also is responsible for crafting that piece of legislation, proposing it in the House, and putting that pressure on Jeff Bezos. By the way, I think that what happened was Jeff Bezos saw this. He saw the framing of the bill, which was actually bipartisan, because not only is it talking about you have to do $15 an hour, so a living wage, it was also framed from the perspective of, and oh, by the way, this massively cuts down the size of government because Amazon workers will no longer have to run to the safety net to make ends meet. So it's a giant reduction in the social safety net spending, which should appeal to conservatives. So I think Jeff Bezos looked at that and was like, oh my God, this is going to catch on. And so he's like, okay, yeah, $15 an hour, sure, yeah, let me do that. And then he did. So that's wonderful. I love that line so much. Now, notice what he's talking about here is substance. All this is substantive. Stop Bezos Act got a raise for 350,000 Americans. By the way, he did the same thing. He got a raise for Disney workers as well. Bernie Sanders has been on the front line protesting with many unions, fighting for a living wage and better working conditions and better benefits. Ended the war in Yemen, historic, and Khanna was, very important in making that happen as well. So he's kind of selling himself short. He's not bragging about himself here because it's a Bernie rally, but that's also the case there. And then that first line was the best because you heard the audience pop. He said, you know, we're not going to waste $6 trillion on endless wars anymore. We're going to invest in healthcare, education, and infrastructure. And the audience erupted. Like they've just been waiting for so long for some politicians to just say what they think is obvious and what they think makes perfect sense. Like, yes, stop the endless offensive wars and reinvest at home. And that's the line Khanna gave, and the audience ate it up, and they loved it. And, you know, these rallies moving forward for Bernie and his team, I mean, they really have the potential to be, you know, something special. They really do. Kind of in the same way that those Trump rallies for the far-right people, where they just loved it and they ate it up. We have the potential to build something incredible on the left and actually way more potent because obviously in the case of Bernie Sanders and Khanna and all these people, Nina Turner, who did a wonderful speech as well, they're talking about things that are actually overwhelmingly positive and would help people. So I love seeing this. I can't wait to see the rallies moving forward. They should be a lot of fun.